People talking that they don't realize that happened to me
That's not
all the
my
time.
fault, okay? I can't help it that I can hear stuff.
And you
too,
can
so.
be doing one thing and listening to somebody else. People used to say, how can you do that? But it's like multitasking. I mean, you're used to that because if you're singing or playing or anything, you're multitasking. You can't not multitask or you couldn't do your job.
Right.
So, I mean, they think this is a new thing they found out. That's not true. This has been
well,
going on for years.
my critique of that show is it was so, it was almost too basic, and they didn't bring up too many new things. Like they talked about, they did MRIs on people, and they could show the different parts of the brain when a person was singing with an instrument as opposed to just singing by themselves. Well, I don't think that's anything new.
No, because
because they know
adjusting,
that
of course.
use different parts of the brain, and then they talked about the fact that musicians, the crossover of the brain is more connected. Well, I think that was old news too.
Well, what
I remember hearing about that.
Okay, but
and I would agree with that because I think musicians are coordinated more, not only in their oral perceptions but physically too, because you have to, whether you play or you sing, it's coordination that gets everything to work.
That's true. That's true.
So that's a coordination of the brain too.
The part I thought was interesting is what you see and hear all the time when you go sing at all your places because of the response that people give to music. That people that can't talk or that can't move, they respond to music. I mean, that's a big music therapy thing, but it's like they're bringing it out like it's something new. But I think anybody responds to music. A child, I read where the autistic child or something couldn't speak, but they could sing and they listened to music too.
Autistic people actually are very musical. There are a lot of autistic, there's people on my list, they're kids, they play the piano and they play the violin and they sing because they're almost tuned more into the musical and the oral things.
Brain is amazing, and music.
So then they had Bobby McFerrin. He's like, I sing concerts and I have the audience do a part, and then I hear them after the concert's done and they're like doing their part. And I said, well, I already know that because that happens to me all the time. And I do my concerts and then I hear people and they're all singing.
That's great.
Different parts.
Yeah.
Some of it is one song, and some of it, someone over here is doing this part, and it's like whatever stuck the best with them. And the other thing that they were talking about is they were using stroke patients. They could sing, but they can't speak. And they were using actually one of my songs, I Love Paris in the Spring.
Oh.
Anyway, so they showed this on the TV, that the woman, because she knew the song, she could relate to that and she could sing it, but she can't speak because she had too much damage. I know this firsthand from places I have sung at, not only with the stroke people, which I noticed there's this one guy at this adult day center that I sing at, and he has a stroke and he's in a wheelchair, and his half of his face is, but he just loves the music because he can sing along, and he cries and stuff because he's so moved by the fact that he can do something.
Oh my gosh.
So, but I remember the very first time that happened with me was years and years ago when Katie and I were doing a program somewhere, and I think I was singing a song, and all of a sudden this woman who had been sort of dead the whole time, I mean, you would never have noticed. I mean,
you thought that she wasn't noticing.
She was not noticing. And then all of a sudden she started singing, If I Love You. And it was really funny, and I didn't think much about it at the time, but now that I have done, 200 different places and had these experiences, especially with the Alzheimer and the dementia people who are just so totally out of it, even though they have a lot more drugs that work better with the Alzheimer people and the dementia people, music still, to me, really breaks right through everything. And, you see them at the beginning, and they're just like, you look at their eyes and there's just like no connection whatsoever. And then I do my program and I start singing and stuff and moving around and all that, and then they come alive and then they remember the songs and then they start singing along.
Amazing.
So music is an amazing thing. So
Yes.
But the point is that music is not like sound. So people who have strokes, they can't speak, but they can sing. Okay, part of that would
What
be
do you
the
mean
different
by sound?
parts.
You mean language?
Okay, like that's a
Well,
sound. Okay.
okay, but that's a type of language.
Okay,
Language
but
is
it's
a different
still,
area.
but it's a sound that isn't necessarily music.
Okay.
I mean, you hear sounds. Would you necessarily say that every single sound is a bit of music?
Well, far out you could if you hit the. That's
Well,
a
you're
sound. I mean, there's a
hearing a wave.
vibration.
So
Yeah.
you're hearing a wave.
Right.
But
It's not a musical wave. In
not
other words.
necessarily. I mean, someone will argue that yes, it is. However, in the context of let's just take a song,
Right.
it isn't.
It isn't. Yes.
Because a song has a whole.
It's got more than just.
It doesn't have one sound. It has a whole
Yeah.
bunch that are sort of strung together.
Right.
It has
Even
a
one note
structure,
has the overtone,
and
so
it leads to something else. And it has a sort of a point to it, and then it goes to its climax, and then it slowly eases
you
back
probably
down.
couldn't do a.
Unless
That
you were
wouldn't
doing
be a.
unless you were doing,
Drums you can because they're.
and then you were making it into a piece.
But there's no variation of pitch
No,
in
not
these
if,
things.
not really.
Not
Unless
not
you
in
had
a piece of wood. Maybe in a
Well,
drum there is.
If you had a different size as a piece of wood, like they had. those.
Yeah, it's like the glasses of water or something like that.
So it just all depends.
Yeah.
But my point is, so the brain and music is sort of a different thing, and that sounds
Oh,
really
what does
smart.
that mean?
Oh, what I'm getting at is that so these people are in dementia, or they have Alzheimer's, and they can't remember anything because their body no longer functions, but they can remember music. Okay, so there's obviously some spot in the brain, and they brought it
A
up
different
on the show,
area that allows them to.
allows it to come through.
Yeah. That
Which-
when it's saved, even evidently it's a different
Right.
area.
Right, it is saved
So
in a
that
different
doesn't
area.
get destroyed as easily as speech does.
Or it's just that it is such a strong neural transmitter connection that yes, it gets saved in a certain area, and that clicks better
back together. Yeah.
than like saying, "Hi, how are you?"
Interesting. I guess it is.
So yeah, so the brain is amazing, but then if you think about it, so is the body too, because how can you play your viola?
Practice.
Okay, fine, but I'm just saying that's a pretty amazing thing. I mean, if you think about it, the human body is an amazing thing, just like the touch, like you're saying,
Yes,
and how
yes,
you can
the
feel
robots.
the center. Well, I'm talking just music.
Feel
here.
the center of a
Feel
note.
the center of
Oh,
a pitch.
Yes.
I mean, yes, it takes practice,
Yes.
and your coordination, all that. But that,
The
if I
touch.
just like touch you, look
Yes.
at you feel
Feel it.
those
Yes.
things, and nothing.
Robots can't replace
No,
that.
robots
They
can't
hope
replace
to,
that,
but,
Patrick. Sorry. But.
If they do, it'd be 100. It'd be
Well,
several hundred.
you'd have
years.
to
I
have
don't
a
know.
robot figure out
You
how
can-
to do it.
yeah.
And then you'd
You
have
can't
the
replicate the
robots
brain.
figuring out the robots, and then those robots would figure out more. So
You can't
anyways.
replicate the brain. It's too complex. The brain is, and great. It's great that music affects it so well, because that's one of the strong parts of the brain and of the body. Really, is music and the vibration.
and I think that
involved with
is our point. So music really is very special.
Yeah, and
Because-
important.
Yeah,
And for
because that was the other
children.
thing, yes, that we didn't bring up was the development. Like you mentioned language before.
Mm-hmm.
So when I was 5 years old, I knew French and English, and then by the time I was 10, I had to learn German, Spanish, French, and English.
Yeah.
So you can do that, and I do think the music helps.
Right, because all you kids just picked up languages like nothing, and including science, which is a type of language, and including computer languages,
Yeah,
which
there
is
you go.
part of it. And there was IBM did a study one time that musicians made good programmers because you have that ability to see or hear different languages. I mean, and think of, I don't know how it works together, but anyway, it's like any language. There are similarities of thought in learning the languages, and maybe it's a construction